This is part 2 of the Stihl chainsaw Will It Run video. We have a lot of parts here all cleaned and ready to be reassembled. This is the oil pump in here. This is the next thing that we're going to remove. In order to do this, it just fits with a friction fit from underneath. So you need to get a screw of a correct thread, turn it in, and because it's such a tight fit, I'm going to use a hammer. I'm going to pull it out just like that. There we are. And this is what it looks like. Very small, a lot smaller than you'd expect. So this turns, pulls oil in, and then pushes it out the other side. Okay, we're going to start assembly. First of all, I'm going to put the engine back in. So watch this space. Okay, this is the original Stihl oil pump. Just moving it here now, it feels very nice and smooth. And this is the aftermarket parts replacement, and it feels terrible, graunchy, doesn't move very well. Give it a bit of oil just to see if that helps at all. No. Awful. So we're not going to be using that. Okay, so now it's important to remember when fitting the oil pump in this hole here, there is a little reminder on there which shows you that the oil pump can only go in one way. So there's a little notch there. It has to go in that way, exactly the same. This is the aftermarket worm drive, which should go onto the oil pump there. So let's just try it. Oh dear. If you can just have a look here, it's catching. It's not even going to go down past the chain brake. That doesn't feel very good at all. Okay, here's the old one. Still serviceable. Will this go on? Look at that. Original part versus aftermarket part. No. Again, we are not going to be using that junk. it's pretty much all back together now. I have tested the spark. So we've got spark with the new plug. It was a bit tricky getting the new wires because they were slightly longer than the originals. So I've had to curl them round a little bit. We had an issue with the kill switch here. If you see that now, that works nicely. Okay, all the linkage works okay. Next thing to do is fill it up with fuel and oil and test it. And what we're going to test first is whether we get oil coming out of this little bit here, because this has always been a big problem with these sort of small chainsaws, is oil feed to the bar. So the bar gets the oil through that little hole there. So we're gonna run it and check to see we get oil coming out of there. Right, fuel, oil. We're gonna put 50-to-1 mix, fuel to 2-stroke oil. So put a little bit of fuel in there. Not too much, just in case we have to drain it back out again. I reckon that a bit more. That should just about do it. Make sure you put the cap back on, nice and tight. And then bar oil. This is the important thing. So the bar oil goes in here. Whoa, all the way to the top. There we are. So then close that up. So now I'm going to start it, and hopefully, well, hopefully it'll start to begin with, but hopefully we'll see some oil coming out of here. So it might take a few pulls just to begin with. What we have to do is click this down. So pull the throttle, click this down onto choke. So, right, I think we're ready to go. Okay, going to try and give it a good start now. So put it into choke position. Pull the cord, hopefully it'll fire. Oh, okay. Okay, carb needs adjusting. Alright, it's not the right screwdriver, but you adjust the carb through this tiny little hole here. So you put it through there, in through the next one, and then wiggle it through until it gets to the fuel air mix adjustment on the carburetor. So you adjust it until it sounds right. So I've actually already adjusted this one, so I don't need to do any more. So should we try it one more time? Okay, so choke on, screwdriver down, there we go, choke on. You pull it until it fires, and then once it fires, you take it off choke and onto run. Okay? Oh, okay, so it's fired. So you take it off choke, and then this is half choke now. So once it fires, I'm going to have to quickly press the trigger to put it onto run. So it runs nicely now. And it ticks over nicely as well. And then to turn it off, just push it up. There we go. I've adjusted the carburetor now. It runs quite nicely. But the only thing it didn't do when I tested it just before was the oil wasn't coming out. So I checked the oil pump, and it turns out the original oil pump which I was going to use didn't work, so I had to go and use the aftermarket one. So I will just start it up and see if it comes out. This is the bar that came with it. The oil has to go in through a tiny little hole just there. I don't know if you can see. It looks very blocked at the moment. It's very gummed up. when the oil goes in, it goes through that little hole there, and it comes out inside that groove there. So to clean it up, we need to make sure that we've got a good, clear, flowing oil route through to the chain. So I'll get the blower, and then we have adjusted the carb, hung the chain and bar. I have sorted out the oiler, so it now oils the chain, so it's not going to overheat or anything like that. So let's just try it now with the bar on